Good day, ladies and gentlemen. In the shadowy and often treacherous world of Zimbabwean politics, where allegiances are as fickle as the wind and power can shift with the drop of a hat, what was initially billed as a routine procedural matter has erupted into a full-scale political drama that has the entire nation and likely the ruling ZANU-PF party on edge. What started as a simple administrative decision regarding Tagwirei's co-option into the Central Committee has now turned into an explosive spectacle of power plays, backstabbing, and one-too-many egos fighting for supremacy. And make no mistake, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen, because we are about to take a deep dive into a political thriller that could very well shape the future of Zimbabwe for years to come. Let's start with the seemingly innocent beginning of this saga. Mnangagwa's rushed push to co-opt Tagwirei into the Central Committee. Now, at first glance, this might appear to be just another day in the bureaucratic life of ZANU-PF. One of those things that's decided behind closed doors with little fanfare. But in reality, what Mnangagwa was doing was far more calculated than a simple procedural decision. Mnangagwa, ever the opportunist, understood that aligning himself with Tagwirei, a businessman whose empire extends deep into critical sectors like fuel, mining and agriculture, would cement his grip on power within ZANU-PF. Tagwirei isn't just a man with business connections, he's a man with leverage, and in the world of Zimbabwean politics, that kind of power is golden. So, why the rush? Why push Tagwirei through so hastily despite the party's own procedures? Simple. Mnangagwa doesn't have the luxury of time. With every passing day, the political landscape is shifting. He knows that his position, though solid, is not unassailable, and the last thing he needs is for an emerging political rival to solidify his own support base. So in a move designed to quickly tighten his hold over the party, Mnangagwa pushed Tagwirei forward, only to face unexpected resistance. That resistance came from none other than the Vice President, Constantino Chiwenga, and it would set the stage for the dramatic showdown that followed. Chiwenga, the military strongman who was central to the coup that brought Mnangagwa to power in 2017, is no stranger to political warfare. And in this instance, Chiwenga's objections weren't just about party procedures. No, they were about something far more crucial, his own political survival. Chiwenga has long harbored ambitions of taking the top spot himself. After all, he was once viewed as the true heir apparent to the throne, and in his mind, Tagwirei's ascension to the Central Committee could very well signal a shift in power that would leave him in the dust. Tagwirei, with his expanding political clout and connections, is no small threat to Chiwenga. If Mnangagwa managed to place Tagwirei in a position of greater power, it would weaken Chiwenga's own standing within the party, especially since Tagwirei's loyalty would likely lie with Mnangagwa and not Chiwenga. But Chiwenga didn't just voice his concerns. He raised the stakes by invoking the ZANU-PF constitution, the very constitution that Mnangagwa had rushed to bypass in his eagerness to push through Tagwirei's co-option. Chiwenga wasn't just acting as a procedural watchdog, he was making a power play. His objection wasn't a mild rebuke, it was a calculated strike, a reminder to Mnangagwa that no one, not even the president, can bypass the rules without consequences. In other words, Chiwenga's move wasn't about keeping things orderly in the party. It was about reminding Mnangagwa, who really had the power to dictate the course of events in ZANU-PF. And so the game of political chess began. Mnangagwa, taken aback by the sudden pushback, had little choice but to retreat. His rush to bring Tagwirei into the fold had hit an obstacle, and a significant one at that. It was no longer just about party protocol. It had become a question of control. Chiwenga's objections forced Mnangagwa to backtrack, and the president, whose political career has always been marked by cunning and pragmatism, was forced to face the harsh reality. Even he couldn't sidestep the inner workings of ZANU-PF without risking major fallout. What followed next was a scene that must have left Mnangagwa with little choice but to begrudgingly accept the blow to his plans. Tagwirei was asked to step out, at least for now. But the drama didn't end there. After the procedural drama unfolded, a vote was called to decide Tagwirei's fate. In what can only be described as a crushing defeat for Mnangagwa, 47 out of 49 members voted against Tagwirei's co-option. This wasn't just a procedural setback. It was a clear sign that ZANU-PF, far from being the united monolith that Mnangagwa would have us believe, is a fractured party. The factions are at war with each other, and this vote was the most glaring evidence yet. Chiwenga had managed to rally enough support within the party to block Tagwirei's entry into the Central Committee, and by extension, he had dealt a significant blow to Mnangagwa's carefully laid plans. So what now? Where does this leave Mnangagwa and Chiwenga? The fallout from this political clash will echo far beyond the immediate decision on Tagwirei's co-option. If Mnangagwa wants to maintain his control over the party and the country, he will have to play the game very carefully. Chiwenga has made it clear that he's not going to let Mnangagwa have things his way without a fight. But Mnangagwa isn't the type of man to be outmaneuvered for long. Expect to see more backroom deals, more scheming, and more surprises as these two titans of Zimbabwean politics continue to vie for control. But here is the question that remains. Will Mnangagwa continue to back Tagwirei despite this setback, or will he cut his losses and move in another direction? The answer to that will determine the future of Zimbabwe's political landscape. If Mnangagwa aligns with Chiwenga, which is most improbable, that could be the end of Tagwirei's influence. But if he continues to push forward with his plans to install Tagwirei, it could ignite even more internal conflict within the party, possibly leading to an even bigger showdown. The fact is, the battle for Zimbabwe's future is being fought right now in the heart of ZANU-PF, and the outcome is anything but certain. As the saga continues, the ZANU-PF media dogs, the Varakashi for ED, who were congratulating Tagwirei just before the meeting started, had to come and give an explanation of why Tagwirei was booted out. It was just a procedure. He will be back soon, so they say. But with the rumored vote, will he be back? If he's going to be back, will that force Mnangagwa to fire Chiwenga? And will Chiwenga accept being fired and leave things like that? Will he not fight back? As the stakes continue to rise, ZANU-PF is careening toward a political crisis, one where the players are not just fighting for control of a party, but for control of an entire nation. The tension between Mnangagwa and Chiwenga is palpable, and with each passing day, the situation becomes more volatile. In a country already grappling with economic collapse and social unrest, the last thing Zimbabwe needs is another round of political instability. Yet, here we are, watching as two of the most powerful men in the country duke it out for supremacy. This, dear viewers, is the definition of political intrigue. This is ZANU-PF in its rawest, most unfiltered form. And it's just getting started. So if you think the drama ends here, think again. The next move, the next shift could alter the very course of Zimbabwe's future. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned to Zimwaves TV for all the twists and turns, because if there's one thing we know about ZANU-PF, it's that the plot never stops thickening. Don't forget to subscribe. This roller coaster ride is just getting warmed up, and you won't want to miss a moment of the action.
Mnangagwa ari muhomwe ya wikinero, iyera ari muhomwe yechigananda, ZANU iri muhomwe makuda kwashe, ona iri muhomwe yezvigananda. Unoitonga seiko nyika iyi, iwe uri momwe yegoronyera. Unoitonga seiko Zimbabwe, iwe chiwepu chenunzva tunzva. Nyika yedu yaenda kumawere, mutserendende uya wepanhanzva. Padukuduku varakashi vanonyora, mamuona here wikinero wedu. Pano nepano mazanu anoti, kuda kwashe Tagwirei yakapenga. Unoitonga seiko nyika iyi, iwe uri momwe yegoronyera. Unoitonga seiko Zimbabwe, iwe chiwepu chenunzva tunzva. Nyika yedu yaenda kumawere, mutserendende uya wepanhanzva. Mnangagwa ari muhomwe ya wikinero, iye ari muhomwe yechigananda. ZANU iri muhomwe makuda kwashe, ona iri muhomwe yezvigananda. Unoitonga seiko nyika iyi, iwe uri momwe yegoronyera. Unoitonga seiko Zimbabwe, iwe chiwepu chenunzva tunzva. Nyika yedu yaenda kumawere, mutserendende uya wepanhanzva. Hande itese tese varida yasipora, tinobvisa Mnangagwa nezvigananda. Uyai mose vechipinge nekwaseke, chigananda chetinetsa muZimbabwe. Unoitonga seiko nyika iyi, iwe uri momwe yegoronyera. Unoitonga seiko Zimbabwe, iwe chiwepu chenunzva tunzva. Nyika yedu yaenda kumawere, mutserendende uya wepanhanzva. Mnangagwa ari muhomwe ya wikinero, iye ari muhomwe yechigananda. ZANU iri muhomwe makuda kwashe, ona iri muhomwe yezvigananda. Unoitonga seiko nyika iyi, iwe uri momwe yegoronyera. Unoitonga seiko Zimbabwe, iwe chiwepu chenunzva tunzva. Nyika yedu yaenda kumawere, mutserendende uya wepanhanzva. Mnangagwa ari muhomwe ya wikinero, iye ari muhomwe yechigananda. zanu iri muhomwe makuda kwashe hona iri muhomwe yezvigananda unoitonga seiko nyika iyi iwe uri mumwe yegoronyera unoitonga seiko Zimbabwe iwe chiwepu chenunzva tunzva nyika yedu yaenda kumawere mutserendende uya wepananzva vadukuduku varakashi vanonyora mamona here wiki nero wedu pano nepano mazano anoti kuda kwashe Tagwirei yakapenga unoitonga seiko nyika iyi iwe uri mumwe yegoronyera unoitonga seiko Zimbabwe iwe chiwepu chenunzva tunzva nyika yedu yaenda kumawere mutserendende uya wepananzva handei tese varidaya sipora tinovisa Mnangagwa nezvigananda uyai mose vechipinge nekweseke chigananda chetinetsa muZimbabwe unoitonga seiko nyika iyi iwe uri mumwe yegoronyera unoitonga seiko Zimbabwe iwe chiwepu chenunzva tunzva nyika yedu yaenda kumawere mutserendende uya wepananzva Mnangagwa ari muhomwe yawikinero iye rari muhomwe yechigananda zanu iri muhomwe makuda kwashe hona iri muhomwe yezvigananda unoitonga seiko nyika iyi iwe uri mumwe yegoronyera unoitonga seiko Zimbabwe iwe chiwepu chenunzva tunzva nyika yedu yaenda kumawere mutserendende uya wepananzva padukuduku varakashi vanonyora mamona here wiki nero wedu pano nepano mazano anoti kuda kwashe Tagwirei yakapenga